Hello, Bobby?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Bobby Kelly, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, for starters, thanks for calling into my podcast. How we do it, all things Robert Kelly, Bobby Kelly, all your social media stuff. Mind plugging it right now at the start?
Sure. You want me to? Yeah, sure.
We try to do it at the front and the end of each interview because, people.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah, sure. You want me to just say it, or you going to ask me? Or...
No, we're talking. This is the podcast. Just say it, man.
Oh, my God, dude. You got to let me know we're on the air. What if I said some crazy stuff?
We will cut it out if you said some crazy shit.
I'm Robert Kelly Live on Twitter. No, Robert Kelly on Twitter. Robert Kelly Live on Instagram. And Robert Kelly Comedian on Facebook. A very popular name, Robert Kelly. I couldn't get it everywhere. There's a wood carver that has my name somewhere, and a poet. So. Yeah,
it's a singer that's out there too that may or may not have that name.
Oh, I've never heard of him. What's his? Is Robert Kelly? Goes to Robert Kelly?
Yeah. He does a thing. He pees on people. It's a thing. You should check him out.
Oh, we have the same interests.
But thanks so much. Bobby, man, I love it when you come to the Michigan area. Every time you're here, I try to break my back to get here because you're awesome. You're a very funny comic. And I had the pleasure of telling you in person, I think last time you were here, you were opening for Dane at Detroit at the Fox.
Yeah.
And I got a chance and I told you again I think the virus tour, but I just love your comedy. I love what you do on screen as far as like Bam Bam from Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. I wish that kept going because you were awesome, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a fun show, dude. That was, and to work with Leary is, been a dream of mine since I did it the first time, 10 years ago. So it sucks, but, it's a weird thing, man. TV has changed so much, and there's 400 shows on now instead of 30. So it's just a hard time to keep a show on air. But, whatever. It was fun. Learned to play the drums. Worked with Leary, John Corbett, one of the sexiest men alive, and then Elaine Hendricks and Liz Gillies. I saw them almost naked a bunch of times, so that was worth it.
That's pretty cool, I guess. But, it all comes back down to stand-up comedy. This is your bread and butter. This is what you've been doing. And I've been a fan since the O&A days, way back when, since the Jim Brewer show. That's a while. But I love it how it evolves. It went from things you did back then. I like how you've been doing this almost 20 years, close to 20 years. And
over 20 years.
Yeah, I'm doing the math. Yeah, over 20 years, and every time your act is never stale, it's always evolved, and you're not afraid to get out there and live life, which is interesting because we've had people on this podcast who talk about great experiences, with you.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
What?
Is that a shock?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just funny to me.
No, people have had great experiences with you. I didn't mean to shock you, but they look into you as more like a teacher.
Right.
And you've jumped into that mentorship role. Hey, I listen to You Know What, Dude. That is essentially it's a comic hang, as you put it, but it is a master class in evolving, whether that be as a person, whether that be as a comic, whether that be whatever you do. You always have such a eclectic group, and it gets a little real. You want to get into that a little bit? One podcaster to another?
Yeah. I think podcasting for comics is the best social media, just because all the other social medias, you can have 100,000 people on Twitter, but only 10,000 of those people are your fans. Everybody else is fake or a bot or doesn't give a crap. But when you podcast, if you have 10,000 fans, you have 10,000 fans because they actually have to download it and listen to the show, and that takes work. So it's the most honest form of social media for a comedian, and to listen to a show, they really have to like you. And my podcast kind of evolved from me by myself to now, a bunch of comics and, occasionally actors and other people step in, and we just kind of hang out and let the conversation go where it goes, which I like. I mean, I love interview shows like this. It's always interesting to hear somebody talk to somebody that you've wanted to get to know. But, there's something about comics hanging out and just, segueing into stuff naturally. And, my show gets heated sometimes. My show is very funny. But it's definitely pretty real. And, and I love it because we always have new guys. It's not just me or my friends. I always have a new guy on the show. I always have somebody new because comics tend to get bitter and stick to the clicks, and, you can fall victim to that. But when I do my show, I always have new guys on because I want to know what that girl's doing or what this guy's doing, and see how funny they are and what they're all about. And 9 times out of 10, they're really cool and funny, and, I probably would have never known that, just hearing about them or maybe catching a quick set somewhere. So, yeah, dude, I love my show. I love the podcast.
But that's a good thing, having that new person on, because in many ways, you may be helping that person, but they help you too. They help you evolve. Like you said, people get clicky, and when you hang in those clicks, you don't really see outside of it. So having that new person showing up, maybe you're helping them out in the business sense, but they're in many ways introducing things to you that you probably didn't know that was out there.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Like, I mean, Dan Soda.
Monster voice, yes.
Yeah. He reintroduced me to Joe List. Yeah, I mean, Joe List worked with me in Boston and bombed. And I was like, oh my God, everybody was telling me Joe List, and then he bombed. I was like, oh, this guy stinks. And then Dan Soda was, one of my, I got introduced to from Joe DeRosa, and then Dan reintroduced me to Joe, and then Joe came on my show, and I realized how fucking hilarious Joe List is. And then, of course, Mark Norman, and the list goes on and on. Tim Dillon, Stavros, Alkit. I mean, I meet all these funny, Krista Cello. All these people now are kind of in my orbit. And it's cool, too, like, I do a barbecue once a year, comic barbecue in the summer, and there's like 50 comics here, from, Colin Quinn to Chris Scopo, as far as range. And, with their kids and their families and their chicks, and it's just, us socializing, which is, I think is very important, not just at the clubs, hanging out and having a good time outside that,
Oh yeah, I totally understand that. But speaking of that, you're going to be here 3 nights in Michigan, Lansing, Grand Rapids, and Pontiac. The True Story Tour. I mean, how's the tour been going so far?
It's been awesome. Really cool. We, this whole tour was set up for, to not, I usually go to a club and come in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, go Sunday, blah, 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 same place, which I love. There's certain clubs that I love doing that at. But, it gets a little old, and it's like, I wanted it to be more of a tour where, we come into a venue that doesn't do comedy or whatever, where I've never been, these little venues, smaller venues, smaller crowds. Everybody thinks smaller crowds is, I think it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Go in, small venue, one night, and get the hell out and go to the next one. So we're coming in on Thursday, and we're doing, Lansing, and then we're going to, I believe, Grand Rapids and then Pontiac, Michigan. So we're doing 3 Michigan dates in 3 days, jumping in the car, hotels. To me, that's touring, when you're going place to place, jumping in a car, stopping at some truck stop. It's just a blast,
Yeah.
So, I'm real excited about this Michigan run. It's going to be a lot of fun. I just get all those people listening, stop sitting on your ass, buy a ticket, and go out.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I mean, I try to make it to every show you're here when you're in my area, and I have never once been disappointed. And, little plus side, you come up with Stavros. He's no slouch either.
No. Stavros is the motherfucker. Oh, can I say that?
Yes, you can swear. It's fine. We fucking encourage it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Stavros is the motherfucker, man. He's a totally different. I mean, we look very similar, which is hilarious. With two chubby bald guys. We should have called the tour the Honey Pigs, but he's very funny, man. He's he's kind of from the joke writing school. I'm from the storytelling school, but he's a hard act to follow. You know what I mean? He's not easy, which I love. He goes up there and kills it every night, and and he's working on his half hour. I'm working on my next hour, and it's really cool because we talk about comedy after the show. If he's not meeting up with a chick on Tinder, we'll hang out. But definitely the next day, we always sit down and go over what the hell happened. You know, it's not like we're just going and wailing these gigs out. We're talking about, my set or his joke and punching each other's shit up and really doing some work to make our set better. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I totally understand.
My set at the beginning of this tour is different than it was. You know what I mean? Now it's different now than it was when I started this.
Yeah, because you got the help, or you got somebody giving you a tag, or hey, try this instead of this, and you're just strengthening it out every stop you go. And I think that was great. I just kind of want to get back to what you were saying about the the smaller venues, but that's where you find that core audience. That's where you find your core guys who rock with you since day one, or people who was gonna. That's who. And I think, after sitting back and listening to what you say, that's actually pretty cool, because you're not getting, you're less likely to get that person who's dragged on a date. They just want to bang the girl they're with, so they're going to put up with you because they're just kind of suckered in, but they don't know what they don't know your work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely. It's when you show up at that smaller venue, man, it's definitely people who really want to see you. So I don't care if it's 30 people. It'll be a great show. As opposed to 300 people or 500 people that got free tickets and a fucking appetizer.
Yeah.
And they could give a fuck if there was a monkey on stage or a TV.
Yeah, because they already got the appetizer.
Yeah, so it's way better, dude. I love it. I mean, I love clubs. Don't get me wrong. I love theaters. We're doing a couple theaters on this thing. We're doing. We did a club. We did a couple weeks ago. We did three rock venues in a row. Then we went in for a weekend at Side Splitters for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sold out shows. It was fucking great. So it's we're doing every type of comedy venue you could possibly do on this tour. So it's a fucking blast, really.
Okay. I know this is kind of a hack question. I got to ask this, and then I guess I'll just leave you alone. What do you do around the city? Do you explore the city? Do you check stuff out? Or I know it's so hack, but, what do you do?
Well, man, it's not a hack question. It's actually an interesting question. A hack question would be like, how did you get started in comedy? That's an interesting. Nobody's ever asked me that question, so it's actually a good question. We try to find something cool in the town. That was kind of part of the tour too. That's why we hooked up with the laugh button. They were very adamant about look, if they're actually presenting this tour for us, and they were like, look, go if you're gonna walk around, you're gonna do stuff. I'm like, yeah. Anytime I'm somewhere, I go into town, find out what's what. Go to a cool restaurant, a cigar bar, a place to hang out. So yeah, we usually go downtown because we're chubby. We find some type of food, but we don't just go eat shit food. We try to eat the best we can, and then after the show, we usually hang out. Unless he gets a Tinder date and is getting pussy, then I'm usually back in my room on my iPad masturbating to some awful stuff.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, at least you got your priorities and a plan B. one thing I can say, now I'm based out of Detroit, so I'm closer to Pontiac than anything.
Right.
So if you're looking for some cool food, you like barbecue?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this may be a bit of a drive.
Has anybody ever said no to that?
You know what? I never tested it, so now I'm going to try that out. But there's, when you're on the street, the Crowfoot, it's a bit of like, probably like a 20-minute drive from the venue itself, from Pontiac.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna toss these out. You can write these down. Zeke Rock and Roll Barbecue.
Yeah. I like that already.
There's Slows, but you got to get there for Slows. And I'm trying to think of, it was Red Smoke. Jesus, I couldn't think of the name. That's like downtown Detroit, but I assure you it's worth the drive. If you needed something to do, or if you want,
all right, man.
I'm just throwing out. These are my personal favorites. I would love to compare notes.
Sounds good.
The reason I'm thinking about barbecue is because I may have that later on today, so I'm getting my stuff together now.
Right.
So, Bobby, it's a pleasure. I know you're very busy. I just thank you so much for calling into the podcast, talking about the True Story Tour. One more time, all of your social media information, because I want as many of my listeners and anyone else that dig Bobby Kelly just to come out to those shows.
Yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to Michigan and doing these little cool rock venues. So, if you listen to this, get a ticket, come out. They're not too expensive. You'll like me, and if you don't like me, you'll definitely like Starbucks. And if you don't like either one of us, then you're fucking dead inside. But yeah, it's at Robert Kelly on Twitter, Robert Kelly Live on Instagram, and Robert Kelly Comedian on Facebook, or you can just go to robertkellylive.com and you can buy tickets to the show from there and get social media. Everything is right there, robertkellylive.com.
All right, well, thanks so much for calling in.
You got it, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.